Who is Gene Selig? Hello, welcome to Meow Wolf Fan 1, Meow Wolf's first #1 fan. The Selig-Pastore family. Who are they? What are they? Today we will be looking at Gene Selig, the matriarch of the Selig-Pastore family, the grandmother, now deceased, of the family unit. We begin our series with the one character who begins the story dead. What bearing could she possibly have had on the House of Eternal Return if she wasn't even alive when the event occurred? Much. If you go to thecharter.org and click on Gene Selig's name, the first document you'll find there is, who was Gene Selig? Was she an avatar of the anomaly? Did the It send her to lead a rebellion against us? Or was she a charter agent turned traitor? Gene was too disciplined, too methodical to be an incarnation of creative chaos. She hid her motives from us across 3 generations. That would suggest that she comes from the charter. We are all accounted for. Not one of us is missing. A puzzle. The first question presented: was Gene an agent of the charter or the anomaly? Agent 86 of the charter writes, "I'd prefer that Gene came from within the charter. The anomaly, for now, is a known quantity to us. It is mindless. We know how to control it. But what if it is learning to operate outside of its cage? The evidence within the house points to the anomaly, in my opinion. Looking at a program from Gene's funeral, you can find a message from Gene explaining that she has rejoined the anomaly. But there's still the question of source. Do we trust Gene and her own words, or the suspicions of the charter? But rather than looking to the answer for that question, I'm more interested in why it's being asked at all. The reason is that Gene was the start of it all. The House of Eternal Return, Emerson's experiments, Lucius and Piper's journeys, which ultimately led to the loss of Lex to the fog space, it all started with her. Gene Selig is the wife of Emerson Selig. Emerson discovered Gene through the use of a machine he engineered that could detect creative chaos, or children of the anomaly. She encouraged his experiments and study of esoteric science. They had twin children, Lucius, who possessed no powers from the anomaly, and Piper, who did. After an experiment designed to restore life to a deceased family pet, Nimsescu, Emerson somehow reversed this, imbuing Lucius with new, unique powers while Piper's faded away. Gene helped guide Lucius through his new abilities, which at first afflicted him like an illness. She taught him to harness them, control them. She also counseled Piper in living with her powers, and then guided her through life without them when they disappeared. On the charter website, they posed the question, did Gene engineer Lucius's accident? For now, let's continue through the facts. Piper married Nikolai Pastore, himself also gifted with creative powers. Together they had twins, Lex and Morgan Pastore. The charter has this to say: Lex, who is only 10 years old, is pursuing his research with the same determination as his grandfather. Gene caused this. Morgan was being trained for some other purpose, but we can only guess what that was. Gene's role in inspiring each member of her family identifies her official anomalous ability as Muse on the charter website. We also see that out of all the family, she is the one the charter has the least information on. They only discovered her after she married Emerson, and her maiden life remains a mystery. As a muse, she inspired her family to achieve greatness and creative energy. Without her, their ties to each other are weakening. Divorce threatens Nikolai and Piper. Lex and Morgan's small conflicts mirror the divides between Piper and Lucius. In exploring the house, you'll find that Morgan wrote about Gene in her plant journal. She says she found a flower who told her its name was Gene, and that she could talk to it as if it were her grandmother. Gene is always associated with plants and flowers, and so in some ways this makes sense. In the charter clock room, we hear Lex wondering about the nature of death, particularly in the case of Gene's death.
Where did Grandma go when she died? Where did she go? She became us.
Both children seem to continue to be influenced by Gene, even though she has passed away. The charter writes, even though she's dead, some of our agents suspect that she's not entirely gone. There is a radio signal surrounding the Selig home. This signal shifts up and down the harmonic frequency, in the same way Gene's did. We cannot find an origin or a destination for the signal. It covers the Selig home like a fog. The use of the word fog here is no accident, as it obviously alludes to the fog space, which is a term that applies to everywhere in Meow Wolf that isn't the house itself. Does that imply that the multiverse itself, at least the parts we see, are in some way Gene? Now, you can read more about radio frequencies and the place of sound in the Meow Wolf narrative in Emerson's computer, or on the Anomaly Tracker app, or in Nikolai's blog. I won't explain how all that works here, but the charter also alludes to it under the Essential Information section of Gene's page. Gene cannot be tagged with an index number. INs track people through the multiverse by identifying the target's unique harmonic signature. Gene cycled up and down through all known IN frequencies. We first noticed this when Gene's energy reading was identical to an anomalous creature living in the Crab Nebula. Since we are reliably certain that Gene wasn't a light-years-long sentient cloud of gas, we can only conclude that she was cloaked. Tracking her was extremely difficult. Who was this woman? If we stopped here, I would say Gene was obviously a child of the anomaly or a seed of creative chaos or whatever terminology you want to use. She was a sweet old hippie lady who mothered and nurtured everyone to be their best selves. A simple character, really just a prologue for the other characters. Then, the Rift happened. The Rift was a 2019 update to the House of Eternal Return that involved adding new art installations and new story details. And, well, just take a look at this video. First, we see this Stranger Things bird nest in the wall. Generally, birds and nests represent Piper. I'm just going to say that with authority. I'll explain it some other time in some other video. But this nest also has vines and flowers, which are very Gene. Okay, well, both Piper and Gene's stories get updated, so that makes sense. Then we see Gene's portrait with leaves. Of course, she's a plant lady. And then what is going on? Okay, so it's Gene as a scary Medusa lady. That's okay. Then in the kids' room, we have a vine-looking shadow and a book, The Dreams of Gene Selig. Yes, kids, that's right. There's a whole new journal in the House of Eternal Return. So you know, that's journal number 7 of cover-to-cover narrative that you can find in the house. So check out my narrative outside of the house video to see what you can read before and after, because with the amount of literature available now, you're going to have to budget your time to read it all. Anyway, we'll come back to that journal because there's one more important detail about this video. The title. Eng? Ing? Eng. I'm going to say Eng. Now at this point, I'm just like, what the f***? I know. This video is getting long and now there's a whole new thing we're getting into. I don't know. I researched this a lot and the only thing I could come up with was one of the new rooms added to the house. Upstairs in the concert space, there was a large water tank that used to house a miniature city that I miss. But now it's home to a new installation by Katie Green. On the Meow Wolf blog about the 2019 editions, they simply write, inspired by the texture of bird feathers and octopus skin, Green uses a colorful palette and 3D materials to create faces and lines around the circular space, intertwining with natural elements and foliage. Sculptural hands emerge from deep lines and reveal new stories about multiverse characters about to be discovered. And then Meow Wolf posted a blog post entirely about Katie Green's new room. Yes, this has to be more in-depth. Okay. She worked with Meow Wolf's narrative team to incorporate the story of Eng, a new character that has emerged in the House of Eternal Return this year. The water tank is supposed to be her sanctuary, pulling from her descriptive qualities, the way she shapeshifts, her octopus qualities. We want it to be a transition from a lot of stimulus to come in and have a moment of pause, explains Green. If you do choose to sit for a while, you are pulled deeper into the hypnotic calm. The bench pulses with a peaceful heartbeat. The cylindrical space reflects sounds from all sides. A deep, natural drone punctuated by accents, including a frittata frying, the artist's own whispers, and sharp clacking reminiscent of woodpeckers. The only other mention I could find on the whole wide web was in the Albuquerque Journal in a story titled New Spaces, New Stories at Meow Wolf. Reporter Megan Bennett writes, another new character, Eng, is a multi-dimensional shape-shifting creature. The new chapter hints at the idea that Eng may have embodied the main family's grandmother, Jean Selig, in the past. Okay. Octopus. Kind of like that Medusa picture. This article also talks about Green's new room. Green says that she was drawn to Eng's ethereal quality, noting the character's form is not defined. She also teamed up with members of the Meow Wolf audio team to add custom kinetic noises and tracks into the room. She referred to abstract tapping sounds, placed within the former water tank's walls. It creates an aural illusion that something is tapping on the outside of the room, which adds to the mystery of the space. Inside the room's reclining bench are heartbeat sounds. Alright, I've been there, and I have to say, this room is not peaceful. We peeked in and we're like, nope. I actually did go inside because, hello, I'm Meow Wolf Fan 1, but that room is unsettling. The tapping and whispering, it reminded me a lot of the old bug room that has now also been replaced, which I also found to be very, very creepy. I'm getting the feeling more and more that Ing is a baddie. Now, if you're in your Meow Wolf mystery-solving state of mind, you probably see where the answer to this whole Jean Eng question is. The new journal, Jean's Dream Journal. And you would be right. See, when all else fails, you can always enter the multiverse and ask questions. And you don't even need to go to Santa Fe to do it. On thecharter.org, just go to the chat box. Ask anything. What kind of answers will you get? Well, it's a little all over the place. And there's only one chat box for everyone, and it refreshes in and out of order and only goes back so far, so this only works if you check back for answers diligently. At first, the charter only told me what I already knew, but when I asked where to find more, my suspicions were confirmed. Yes, the Dream Journal. The Dream Journal that, when I last went, I didn't read. I failed you in that, my viewers, and for that I am sorry. I couldn't remember if it was new or not, and I also kind of assumed I'd be able to buy it, but no. Make time to read this journal, my friends. It is not replicated anywhere else as of now. All I have is some video of the journal, and since the best I can give you is reading from that video, that's exactly what I'll do. First off, the title page is different than it was in the promotional video. What the heck does that mean? Anyway, here we go. June 22nd, 1987. Last night I dreamed of scorpions again. Third time this week. I never used to remember my dreams. It must mean something that I do now. It's like I've discovered more hours in a day. More places I have keys to unlock. Is this what it's like for everyone? So much happens at night. We're so busy. A revelation that reframes a lifetime. I woke at 4. I thought I saw the scorpions still in the corner of the room. I looked away and then back, and I won't look away. Not feathers, and I see now that it's not a plant at all. It's 5. Beside me is a deer made of stars, several eyes. Something else I can't quite make out before I hear music from inside the colors, back on the ground in the haunted sound. I go toward it. I wake up on the floor next to my dream anchor, purple yarn in my... June 26th, 1987. The dream of spiders and swing sets. It's the day I broke my arm as a little girl. At first almost exactly as it happened. The swing set my father hung crooked from a decaying tree, an orange sky so violent it could only be real. My dress is yellow, decorated with tiny purple flowers. I touch them, one by one, feeling corduroy under my tiny fingers. One section turned hard under the influence of dried fruit punch. I was up higher than I'd ever been. My legs had been training for this day. I finally got high enough so that I could stop pumping my legs. I leaned back in the swing to watch a flock of birds fly by. They're entirely silent, just streaming through the sky so easily. I think of the effort of my legs, feel the leftover sting. I understand the demands of flight. I know it's not actually easy for the birds. I understand. I admire them. I lean back further to keep them in my sight. Then I fall. There was more that came after that in real life, more that I remember. The blinding pain, the panic of my father, the scolding that took place. June 27th, 1987. The dream of the feeling of red. No memory of last night's dream. The color red? In real life, yesterday afternoon, I saw a dead bird on the sidewalk. I'd forgotten my dream last night until I looked back at the last entry. The dead bird's laid at my feet. I feel responsible for this dead bird. I'm sorry. I don't think the red in my dream was the red of their blood, because that would be too literal. But of course it crossed my mind. June 28th, 1987. No memory again. June 29th, 1987. Nothing. June 30th. Nothing. July 1st. Nothing. July 2nd. Nothing. July 3rd. Nothing. July 6th, 1987. Still nothing. It's my birthday today. I might eat an entire cake. Cake and cake forever. July 9th, 1987. I haven't slept in days. November 12th, 1987. The dream of explosions. The first dream I've remembered in months. I'm at a lake. Unseen motorboats sending waves to lap at the shore. Mountains I've never seen. That's all. Just a lake. The title is a lie. December 6th, 1987. The dream just like everyone else's dreams. Teeth falling out. I'm told that's a classic. They do not speak, but they tell me somehow in 3-part harmony, you know what it is to move through the world in a single-bodied self and know you are more 3-hearted, 9-brained infinity. You can help. They can find it. You've known this. I need to know. I will. They fall silent. They can grow. They grow so big, they disappear. My palm feels heavy without them. I say, "What do you mean I? There are so many of you." They do not answer. The tide comes in all around us. The water cycle is only a cycle if you lack imagination. It's happening, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. Now, she's inside. My veins are crawling with her, with me. Yes. I am the most me I've ever been. I am acres of woods. I am every field. I am floods that come and turn the fields into lakes. I am every lake in the world having a slumber party, and I am the sleeping bags they burrow. I am the breakfast they eat in. I am the source feeds, and I am the fed. I am the acid inside, the food into yellow, but not bright yellow, healthy yellows, vibrant yellow, buttercups in the spring. Emerson and I danced to that Buttercup song at our wedding, didn't we? Or was that someone else? I've been a lot of someone else's. I've sucked all the meat off the bone of life. I've powdered the bone itself and put it in my coffee. I've had as many experiences as a woman of my age, nearing 50 now, really, could have. I spark things for people. Draw them to me. Draw them toward their potentials. I always have. I've looked at love from all angles. I know how it changed, how it always expands, and holds more than you think it can. How it tunnels into you in a way that sometimes feels invasive, but ultimately feels holy, making expanses of your limits, making forest of desert. It makes sense to me that she's here now. I've expanded as much by myself as I can, made room. That's what being a woman is. All women put themselves in boxes, but some find. And that's all I have. Just bits and pieces of a mysterious dream journal. There's the allusion to the music of the universe Nikolai describes in his blog and the Buttercup song at the wedding. The talk of the dead birds and feeling the blame has to be Piper. Piper doesn't die, but she does lose her powers, her connection to the anomaly. And Jean feels some blame. And the charter did ask if the accident was at least partly Jean's plan. I don't think she could have known it would take away Piper's powers, but perhaps she wanted Lucius to gain powers? At the very least, she did push Emerson in his experiment with Nimsescu. I feel like the colors must mean something. Red seems tied to Piper. Yellow could be Emerson. Purple is her connection to reality, I think, which is strange because the fog space is overwhelmingly purple. And Eng? Clearly something was speaking to Jean. Without the mentions online and without seeing the word Eng in the bits of the journal I have, I would just assume it was the anomaly speaking to Jean. That makes the most sense, and yet I know it's the wrong answer. Will we find out more about Eng? Where? How? I feel certain the name Aang itself must appear somewhere in this journal. I must have missed the most crucial entries. If any of you can look and snapshot an entry that mentions Aang by name, I'll do a follow-up video and feature you. But until then, it looks like Aang will remain a mystery. As far as Jean goes, here's the charter's conclusion. Jean trained this family. She molded them, possibly without their knowledge, into a cell designed to create chaos. At least 2 of her brood went on to nearly break the universe. Which, yeah, but we'll get to them in future videos. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments which character I should do next, or what specific fan theories or questions you want me to look at. Be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons, share this video, and tap the bell icon to be notified of future videos. This is Meow Wolf Fan 1, Meow Wolf's first #1 fan, signing off. Until next time.